Hello, students of Quantitative Research 607. This is one of the videos that we will do where we will walk through an assignment using the Jamovi software. So by now, everyone should have downloaded and installed the program. And when you open it, you should get a window that looks like this, or very much like this, with three generic variables that are nominal. And you know they're nominal because of the three little balloons or balls that kind of form a Venn diagram at the top that lets you know they're categorical. We're going to open the file, one of the sample files that you received in the zip folder. So in order to get easy access to that, as you will with all of these files, you need to be sure that those are stored in a place that you can remember how to get back to and that it's not difficult for you to find. So the way this works is that, I'll just review a bit of what we did before in class. We have three windows. You can only see two now. One is for data, the other is for output, and the final one will be an analysis window that'll give you a place to select options. So the first thing that we're going to do is open our file. And in order to do that, we're going to go to these three bars at the top left, go to open, and when we go to open, we'll see two options under open. One is this PC, and the other is data library. We want this PC, and then you'll see the search ribbon at the top on the left side. And when we go to browse, it allows you to find in the directory of files and folders where your files are. So you need to know where they are, and you can browse and find them the same way you do in any Microsoft application. So here I'm going to select the sample number 11 here. And when I do, okay, you'll notice that it opened the sample folder for sample 11. And let me just walk through a few items here. Again, we see our window for the data, and another window here that right now is blank. We'll fill it up in a minute. You'll see that it starts here with this filter, and then it has A, which for us is an ID number. And I should have labeled it as ID. I'll do that later. And then we have age, sex, and sex transformed. Okay, so this is the variable that I transformed into a dummy variable, and here is the original variable sex, where for us, male is 1, and female is 2. So let me, I'm going to double click on this, and remember earlier when I said that this little icon here represents the nominal variable. We could change this to ordinal, which would look like this little bar graph. And then we could also have this ruler icon for continuous variables. And again, these programs don't really distinguish between the interval ratio. It just calls those two categories continuous. Now, because this is a nominal variable, we could label this, and I will. So I'll put male here for 1 and female for 2. And at that point, I can just close this, and you'll see that now, rather than having the 1 and 2, we have male and female. But on our transform variable, we're not going to do that. We want to leave it at 0, 1. Okay. So, one other thing while we're here, and that is for the filter variable, what you see here is the code that I used in order to select the samples. So these are all going to be somewhere between 23 and 27 cases. And this is the code, and it goes in the filter, which we will do a little bit more work with, and I'll explain the functions of this a little more as we move through the class. If we want to see exactly right here which of those are selected, we could go down the list and find them. The ones that have an X are the ones that we don't use. The ones that have a green check are the ones that we will use, and those are the ones that will appear on this list. But if we wanted to just see them, we could click on this I to the left, and it would allow us to see the cases under variable A, which are being used. Okay, so that is one item that identifies that we go with the filter. Oh, one other thing is the filter is active. If we wanted to remove that filter from being active and measure all of the cases, we could deactivate by selecting the active inactive button here. So we want this to be active though. So there's a lot to this program. It simplifies life a lot when you learn the commands. So we're going to go back now to data. This up arrow takes us out of that edit window for, although we didn't have edit selected, we could easily double click and get into edit. So from this point, we're going to follow the assignment. We're in analysis. We're going to select exploration. Under exploration, we're going to select descriptives. And when we go to the descriptives window, you will notice that we are able to see the same variable list with two tables, two menu option windows that we can select variables for. This one, the split by, we'll use at a different time, but right now we're only interested in the top one. We're going to select our two variables for that. And one of the things you will notice right away is that when you select a variable, because this program is dynamic, that means that the minute you select the variable, it will immediately give you the measurement for that variable. Okay, we don't necessarily want the defaults. We want that, we do want them, but we want the defaults, and we want a little bit more than the default. So we're going to go under statistics, and there is a selection window here. And I'm going to open this, and you will notice in this window it allows us to select more or less of the options. Okay, so we do want N and we want missing. We don't necessarily need median. We're not going to use percentiles right now. We want minimum, maximum we don't need. We don't need the range, the variance. We do want standard error, and we do want confidence intervals, which we discussed in class last time. In terms of the plots, the graphics, we do want some of those. And right now we'll just go with bar chart. And later we'll go with histogram. But one other important thing that we do need to select is the frequency distribution. And you'll notice that frequency distribution is right here under the two menu boxes where we selected our variables. Okay, so again, this is our window for the measurement selection. This is our output window. And we had one other window, which was our data window. So right now we're going to get rid of the option window so that we can take a look at our output. So here is our output. And you'll notice that for mean, we have the 1-2 window, which gives us a mean of 1.71, but that doesn't mean very much to us because this is a nominal variable and it's 1, 2. That means 1, 2. You know, we just assigned a number and the number has no meaning. It doesn't mean that women were twice as valuable as men, or it doesn't have any, it's not rankable at all, it's just two categories. This one, on the other hand, does have some meaning, 0, 1. This mean right here tells us the percentage of ones. It's, again, doesn't really have any assigned value to, when I say value, I mean any worth to the categories, but it does allow us to, because we have a dummy variable, to do statistics on this that would not work very well for the original variable. You'll notice that here we have a mean 0.292, and that is the proportion of ones. You'll notice that the standard error is exactly the same. That's the distribution. And the standard deviation is exactly the same. Our confidence intervals are, these tell us what is the range that we would expect with another sample of 25 or 24 from this population. We know that our current value for this sample is 0.29, but if we pulled another 24 from that population of 1,500, we could expect no less, 95% of the time at least, we would expect no less than 10% or 9.5% and no more than 48.8%. And so here's our frequency distribution. We had the count is 17 men and 17 women and 7 men, 29%, and you'll notice that this 29.2% is the same as our proportion that we calculated in the mean for that dummy variable. And here we have the frequency distribution again for the transformed variable. We had 17 zeros, and that means 17 women based on our original variable and 7 men. And again, we see that this 29.2 is the same as the mean for the dummy variable. And here is a plot that shows us a visual of the breakdown between males and females and zeros and ones. So this is basically the assignment. You report this mean, or this proportion of men, for each one of the samples that you were assigned, and then we will go to the next step.